Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And of course, if you're watching on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome everyone to the top 20. We're almost there, kids. It's the 18th of December. That's right, December 18th, 2025. It actually is beautiful out today. Half of me, to be perfectly honest, is very disappointed I have to do this show because it seems like a really nice day to get out there and just walk for a little bit, which I could really use. And this is definitely falling under the TMI part of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. But man, I have lower stomach pain like you would not believe. Like I don't know what the hell's going on. And like it's one of those things where you have to kind of sit back like, did I go to Taco Bell like and totally forgot about it? Like it's that kind of pain, which is not great. But no, I did not go to Taco Bell. All I really did was have some cold cuts. I did have a magic cookie Christmas bar. That seems to probably be the biggest culprit because I just didn't really eat anything else. But I'm sure everybody showed up to see what my microbiome update was, so I'm glad we got that out of the way. Got a couple other things to talk about, but yeah, I'm a little more awake than normal today because I actually slept well last night, but I am still wiped out. I have to tell you, I am so looking forward to just going easy the next couple of weeks, because of my work schedule and the way my vacation time off allotment is going to fall the rest of the year. Because if you look over here at this calendar, basically I have next Thursday and Friday off. One of the advantages of being at the company that I'm at is they give us the day after Christmas off, which is always just a nice get. And then I'll be off for the 1st because most everybody's off for the 1st, but I'll also be off that Friday. So, yeah, I'm looking at 2 weeks back-to-back of 3-day work weeks. I'm hoping, beyond hope, that gives me some serious rest. I don't really have anything coming up show-wise to really cause any stresses or anxiety. I do have some band business to handle, and of course, we start recording the new batch of music on Saturday. And it was actually really funny. One of the things that I do, and this isn't all bands don't do this, but one of the things that my band does is we record the drums live. Where all four of us are in the room. I mean, most people record. If you're recording live drums, you record them live, right? But all four of us in the room playing along so Noodle can it's kind of like his process to get the energy and the vibe that he needs to lay down a really good track. I know plenty of drummers that just go in there and play to clicks or play to scratch tracks. But what our band does is, let me just move over here. I'm like in a divot in the ground here. Like I don't know what's going on exactly. So this should be a little better. So a lot of drummers actually just play straight to a click because they know the song and they're just playing the material. Some drummers play to a scratch track, usually guitar or vocals or whatever, but my band actually does both. So usually the week before we go into record, I come in here into my studio that you can't see, and I'll record scratch tracks. I'll do like my straight up rhythm guitar, so the main rhythm for the song. I'll do scratch vocals and any important backing vocals, and then I'll do a click track that I don't actually need to do because we can just do that in the studio, but there's a particular sound that we seem to use over and over again, so I just put the track there in case Noodle wants it, because I want to make sure we have everything he needs to produce the quality track that we're looking for him to produce. But in addition to that, so he'll be listening to that, but in addition to that, we all play our normal parts live. The only difference is that I won't sing, because if I'm singing in the room, it'll get picked up by the drum mics, and there's just no need, which is why I lay the scratch vocals down. Also, it's way easier on me, so I don't have to keep singing the same stuff over and over again. So that's good. But what was funny is I'd done that over the weekend. I was actually really surprised. I was so hoarse Friday night from our show. I was losing parts of my voice on stage, which is not something that typically happens, but I was doing, well, we'll get to that. So I had lost some of my voice. Anybody that was there probably heard it on a song or two. I mean, it wasn't horrendous. I just couldn't do the higher notes because I'd blown my voice out, which is its own story. But I was surprised I was able to do it. I had recovered fast enough by Sunday to be able to bang them out. So that was good. But the funny thing was, I sent them all to our producer, Dave, just so he had them. And then he messaged me last night. He was like, hey, man, what's the tempo of Underneath? Because Underneath is 100 beats per minute. And I was like, it's 100 as he runs 98. He's like, yeah, the track is 98. And so what happened, and I don't even know how this happened, to be perfectly honest, because I thought I did As You Run last, but I guess I didn't. I must have done it first. And then when I did Underneath after it, I just didn't change the tempo. And because the difference between 98 and 100 is basically 2 beats per minute, so it's a 2% change in tempo, I didn't notice in a feel that it was slow, so I just sent him tracks at 98. And it was funny because his response is very Dave, right? He's like, sounds really good at 98. Like, I think the word he used was sinister. And I was like, oh. So I'm like, this might be a game day decision, and we're meeting with him tonight to do our last round of pre-production before we head into the studio on Saturday. So I think we're going to try the song at 98 and just sort of see what that feels like. But I did fix the scratch tracks and sent them to him, so we have both, this depending on what we want to do. But I'm sure that's what we're going to do tonight. But it's a perfect example of, it's not that I'm slipping, it's just I'm not paying attention. Like, I have two therapists, right? I have one therapist and I have one psychiatrist. My therapist thinks I'm just loaded with ADHD, and my psychiatrist does not, because he thinks, or he is of the school of thought, that if you have ADHD, it had to really manifest in childhood and all these other things. He's asking me questions about my childhood, and I'm like, I'm answering the best I can, but like, I don't have anybody left, that is alive or I speak to that would necessarily know any contradictions to that or have their own anecdotes. My closest sister in age is 5 years younger than me, and was very much like mentally younger, not mentally, like she's not smart. Maggie is brilliant. But she was emotionally younger than me, and I was emotionally very old. Like, I was hanging out with older kids. So by the time she was like cognizant of probably anything I was doing, I was already out smoking and drinking on Friday and Saturday nights, because that's what you do. But it was funny because he asked me how my grades were, and I was always a straight A student, including during the smoking and drinking stuff, because I was really good at school. Like, I just knew how to do that job, and I also happened to love learning, so school was never really a problem for me, no matter how much trouble I got in. Like, all the trouble I got in was everyone ascribed to just being bored, because I would be bored, I mean, the worst I ever had in high school, and this is, if I haven't told this story, it's kind of a funny story, but it like really lines up with everything about me that you probably know from years of listening to me. So my last year of high school in New York State, you need 4 full credits of English to graduate, right? So you have to take it all. You have to get a half a credit every semester. So there's 2 semesters per year. So you have to take an English every single year. Not a problem. I didn't have a problem with that. English was always my weakest subject anyway, but once I got past general English and we were allowed to take electives, I always found stuff that I really, really enjoyed doing. Like I took a semester on like mystery and detection in literature, and it was like Sherlock Holmes and cooler. Like I loved all that stuff. So my last semester, I signed up for college level speed reading. That's what I signed up for. So I took that class, and I went to the class, and it ended up not being that class. The teacher, who was about 1 billion years old, and a real bitch, by the way, like by the truest sense of the word, like she was just mean. Like if she could have hit us with rulers, like she would have done that. And she decided that wasn't the course she was going to teach. She was going to do more reading comprehension. Now, I was going to college. I was already accepted to Stony Brook, so I was all set. So I actually I thought it would be advantageous for me to take a speed reading class, or at least, do it a little bit faster. So that's what I wanted to do. So I go in there, and in the first week, we're just doing remedial, like reading comprehension. Like we're picking up cards in the back, we're reading them, then we're answering questions about them. Now, I can do that in spades. Like I have a really good grasp of the English language. I know how to use my words. I get very annoyingly particular about the usage of words. I find language fascinating. I am not particularly good at it, especially when it's a foreign language, but I think I am very good at communicating and using very specific words to communicate things that I want to say. And that is not something that a lot of people have. And I'm not throwing any shade. People use the wrong words all the time, including myself. People use words that they don't know and they use them the wrong way, or they, mispronounce them. Language is language, and it's not easy for everybody. But so I understand why there is a course like this, but I had not signed up for this course. And so I was starting to act up, and I didn't want to be there. It was a waste of my time. And I kept fighting with her. This is not the class it's supposed to be. And it's not even like they changed the name of the class. It was still speed reading or whatever it was called. And she just wasn't teaching that. So it was, in true form to me, this was wrong. And somebody was doing something wrong, and somebody needed to do something about it. So I was powerless about it. I went to my guidance counselor. I even went to a former English teacher and was like, this is wrong, and this is not what I want. What can I do? And there was really nothing I could do. I was locked in. You couldn't change your schedule at that point unless you had a particular conflict, and those conflicts would arise from sports. By the time I was 17, I wasn't really in sports anymore. So I didn't have a viable way. So I just, it was the first class I had after lunch, so I kept showing up late. And I wasn't, I would do the bare minimum, and then I would just hang out because I was going to get an A in it regardless, because it was just basic comprehension, but it was not what I wanted to do. So I definitely acted out a little bit, to the point where I showed up late one time and she threw me out of the classroom. And as I'm walking down the hall, I called her a bitch. And because of that, I got sent to the vice principal, who did not like me. And the reason he did not like me is because I used to get in trouble for being high and drunk. Well, not drunk so much in school, because it was harder to get alcohol at 17. But I was high a lot, all the time. And it really frustrated him, because he really wanted to punish me. But the problem was, I was in the top 3% of the graduating class without even trying. I was in all the AP classes. I was acing all of that stuff. So there was no real way to punish me. I had already gotten in trouble in one class, to the point where I was actually in school suspension one period every single day. So what happened is that she was able to throw me out of that English class, which means I would not graduate because I wouldn't have those credits. Technically, I could have done something over the summer, but I did have a full-time job, so I didn't know how that was going to look. So now all of a sudden, my going to college was kind of in jeopardy. Like I said, I'd already had early acceptance. It was the school I was going to, and I had already accepted, and whatever you're supposed to do, committed. I'd already committed to SUNY Stony Brook. So I was all set for all that, except for the fact that it didn't look like I was going to get this final English credit. And Mr. Sonnen, who was the vice principal, who was a real piece of work also, just because he was the disciplinarian, and he loved being the disciplinarian. And a lot of my friends from high school could probably tell you stories about what just a scumbag he was. But yeah, he was like, "That's too bad. You're not gonna graduate with the rest of your class." And that English teacher I had gone to and asked for advice actually went to bat for me and got Mr. Sonnen to release me into her care for independent study to get my final credit in English. And Miss Sabatelli, who I'm sure has passed by now, just literally saved everything about my high school education. And I have absolutely no idea why I started telling you that story. I'm sure there was a reason, but all the reasoning escapes me right now, and that's kind of too bad. So yeah, while my comprehension for the English language is still pretty high up there, my retention for anything I was talking about seems to be as low as it ever was, and that's unfortunate. Oh yeah, ADHD, right. So my psychiatrist was like, yeah, you don't really qualify for ADHD. It's not like I was going for a grant in it or anything like that, but I don't qualify for it. So because I didn't have all of these other problems, because it would be people that would do bad in school. It would be people that would get in trouble in school. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of did all that. And to be perfectly honest, if I had applied myself even a little bit, I would have done much better in school. But I'm aware of how to take a test. I understand usually what teachers are looking for. I went to school with my 4-color pen, and I would circle things different ways, and had really good retention for that kind of stuff. And just, there was no challenge for me in school. And so I didn't have the failing grades. So he's basically basing the fact on that I was like hella smart in high school, that negates the fact that I probably have some level of ADHD, which was funny to my actual therapist. He's like, I gotta tell you, man, it's like, I think you're pretty loaded with it, which I knew wasn't a technical definition, but just was. And, you know, he's always very quick to pick up the DSM diagnostic something manual 5. It's how you, if you ever want to see what's wrong with you, just read the DSM-5. It's the 5th edition of that, you know, basically the instruction manual for psychological illnesses. And, you know, I pick up a couple of those. I've got a couple of pages earmarked if you're so interested, if you're so inclined to read that. But yeah, so I was talking about my ability to pay attention, and when that's why I was completely doing the wrong tempo for Underneath on the scratch tracks. But the reason that's important is because one of the most important things in pre-production, this is what people, and I keep telling songwriters and band members this, one of the most important things you do in pre-production, aside from making sure everything is exactly the way you think it should be and making those changes, is what Bob Ross used to call happy little accidents, right? These things are just like, whoa, what was that? You know, hey, what was that? Which, by the way, was the exact phrase that Jimmy used the first time I played the song Blue out in public acoustically. I came off stage and he was like, yo, what was that? And I had just written it, so I didn't think much of the song, but like, you know, it evolved into being like one of our biggest songs of all time. So I thought that was kind of funny. But that's how those things work in pre-production. And one of the problems I have with bands, and I did this too. In fact, I was just talking to Jimmy about it yesterday. One of the things I used to do when I was in G Davy, and the reason that G Davy, I think, will always be a lesser band than Rebel 9 is because I would write a song. I would be so excited that I wrote that song, and so, you know, like, awesome, wrote another song. And G Davy, like, we had a lot of material, and, you know, a lot of it really could have and should have been better because I was just going like, hey man, I wrote this song, let's go write it. And I didn't realize until I started working on the Razorblade Diaries and in pre-production for the Diaries that one of the things that real songwriters do is that they'll edit songs. They'll change them up. And it seems obvious now, like I don't know who it seems obvious to in my listening audience, but me as a songwriter and a lot of other songwriters, like, yeah, you just change stuff up, move a chorus, double a chorus, change a key, double a verse and stuff like that. And I have to tell you, like, just for context, most material that I write, like, because I write most of it right here and I'll fully flesh out a demo and send it to the band and be like, here's our new song. Most of the material migrates so hard from that moment that I am done with this demo to the time that you hear it in a recording. Not everything, not every song. Like songs like Steven Seagal, pretty much as is, like it's how I wrote it. Underneath is actually structurally identical to the way that I wrote it. The only thing we changed on that were a little bit of dynamics. But then you have stuff like Side Out, where we added, like Side Out was supposed to end where the guitar solo starts. And I remember having, not an argument, but like a back and forth with Dave about it. And he was like, he's sitting in there, he's like, yeah, I kind of really want to hear that chorus again. And I was like, well, then you could just play it again. See, like everybody wins. I get another play and you get to hear the song. He's like, yeah, but I think you should probably put that there. And so we added a guitar solo and we added that break, that, side out, and right before it goes into the last chorus. And I still remember that night, because when Dave left, I just kind of shook my head. I was like, son of a bitch, he's right. And that's just how it is. So those pre-production moments are super, super important. And I still, to this day, I know so many songwriters and bands that are like, yeah, man, here's our new song and here's how it's going to be. And like, I'll hear it the first time they play it live, and then I won't hear any single change to anything. Like, that's just the way that it is. And I think the lesson I would like people to understand is that that's not where the creative process ends, right? Like it doesn't have to be where that creative process ends. I had said when we were doing our show on Friday night, I told the audience that we were doing all 6 songs we were slated to record in December and in April. And the reason I was doing that is because we had made some substantial changes to a few of them. We've reorganized a couple. We added an intro sort of to Tony Omaha to create this dynamic that I think really works well. And it's important for me to play that to the audience and kind of see how they react to a song they basically don't know. Because if you can get them interested in the song they are hearing for the first or second time, then you might actually have something on your hands. But I have definitely done stuff over the years where I've watched the audience as we perform it, and they kind of dip out or tune out, or something pops them out of the groove. And I am super sensitive to that, and I consider it a really important step in the evolution of a song, and therefore a really important component of the writing I do as a songwriter. So that's why those kinds of things are important, which leads me back to why Underneath might, by the time you hear it, be at 96 beats per minute, 98 beats per minute instead of 100. Yeah, it's subtle, but I gotta tell you, as soon as I tell Noodle that that Dave says it sounds more sinister this way, sinister is like a big Noodle buzzword, so I think there's a really good shot that we might be tracking this song at 98, which I think is funny. But it's okay, because Noodle always plays faster live, so by the time you hear it live, on the record it'll be 98, but by the time you hear it live, it'll probably be like 105 to 110. I will say, we did get some video. Mike Herman had posted some video from our show Friday night. If you didn't get to see the show, or you just want to see the video, he posted some video of some of the songs, and Noodle had said on Tuesday, he's like, yeah, I definitely played some of those songs too fast, and me and Kaz were like, yep. That's kind of your MO, my guy. So I did not come here to talk about any of that. I actually had some other things to talk about. I had something specifically to talk about that I don't remember at all. But I also really wanted to come and talk about this level of American entitlement that's really just starting to bother me. But I guess it's the Christmas season, and the Christmas spirit kept me from doing that. So we actually had a positive, uplifting-ish, band-related, music-related top 20. So congratulations, everybody. We finally did it. We ditched politics completely, and here we are. So, in the spirit of that, and I did not mean it to go this way, because I was going to play this song anyway, but I've been lax in actually playing my, Christmassy type songs, ahead of the Christmas season. Every week I'm like, why didn't I play that? Well, that's going to end right now, because I pulled it to be first. It's the official start of the Christmas season here at Revel 9 Incorporated and Hard Rock Lunchbox Industries. And why don't we just kick it off this way?